Ding, ding, it's 10:01 p.m. on the west coast of the United States. And Saturday night, of course, 10 p.m. West Coast time Saturday night means what, Sarah Bell?
It means it's time for the fast food, junk food extravaganza.
Extravaganza, yes. We are your hosts for the podcast that we've been now doing, do you believe it, for 8 months, 3/4 of it, what is it, 2/3 of a year?
Yeah, I mean, we started in December, didn't we?
Yeah, it was late December. Essentially, I think of January kind of as when the first one went on the internet. And it's not the same show it used to be, frankly, because my editing computer with all the fancy graphics and effects is not operating. But I think now that I have my teaching English job, I may be able to get some stuff done to it. So hopefully, maybe we can get some of those lost episodes of the show that never made it to the web because my computer broke on the internet. Anyway, I'm Sebastian.
I'm Sarah Bell.
And we are your hosts for the fast food, junk food show extraordinaire Saturday night, Sunday morning in UK time. And what are some of the stories you have coming up, Sarah Bell? You have our news.
Yeah, we've got a couple of news. The thing that I saw the most on Facebook was there's some disturbing video from a fast food worker who was wiping the floor with a hamburger bun.
Okay, so yes, this is, hello, I was stepping outside the shot for a second there. Okay. But yes, what is the story here? Now, I guess we'll come back to all of it. I wanted to kind of do the thumbnail stories first, just the headlines. But okay, so we have viral video now of what I think some restaurant people may call the floor treatment. So what are some of the other stories we have here?
There is a employee, a manager who was set up for robbery on her own store.
Yeah,
at a KFC Taco Bell.
Like I was just watching in the past. I know my picture is frozen here. What have I done? God, I should have rebooted the computer before starting. Okay, am I on here? Yes, everything is working. You can hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, I was watching Ocean's 11. And I was thinking to myself, you know, sometimes I really like the first movie, but that second movie is like really shitty. I don't know. I always wondered, do people do heists like that? And I guess some people actually do heists on even their own restaurants. So that'll be interesting. What other stories are coming up?
We also have the new health craze. McDonald's is now doing the lettuce burger. And their tagline is "Let us introduce you to this." So it's like,
oh God! All right, I already dislike the slogan. I don't like that pun at all. But maybe they've got something with it. We'll talk about liking the idea of the lettuce burger too coming up. And I have a couple of stories as well. Chipotle's in is the new big favorite, and other stories. But first, what do I have, Sarah Bell?
I don't know. What do you have? Oh, it is ice cream from last week. We talked about this.
Yes. Did I tell you about the whitest drink ever that I invented?
Yes, you were talking about the whitest drink ever last week.
In fact, I remember. I spent like 5 minutes on the stupid story because, I don't know. I was just really into the story. Anyway, I decided to make one live on the air. All it takes is some vanilla ice cream. That is not a lot because I actually ran out. It was the tail end because I've made so many of these. And A&W cream soda, which I don't know. I have not had it in a really long time. Like, I've had the root beer. I like the A&W root beer, but the cream soda, it's been a million years. Have you had the cream soda? Do you like the cream soda?
Oh, yeah. I definitely like the cream soda. I think that I like the cream soda floats better than the root beer floats, just because the cream soda is already creamy.
It's all the foam, you see. There's foam from like here to here. It's like 3/4 of the glass, and you inhale it. It's like, so I was talking in the story as though I invented the cream soda float, and you just said that. I guess you've had them for a long time, probably.
Yeah, I want to say that one of my favorite floats were the Big Red, though. The Big Red cream soda.
Really? Oh, okay. And I think you even maybe mentioned that last week, and I remember that now. But, man, I don't know if I'd like the sound of that. Like, I don't know that I would hate it. Big Red float is good?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. I liked it.
Huh. All right, I'm trying not to overflow the, because it combines. You see, the cream soda and the vanilla ice cream combine for
Yes.
this like fucking immense amount of foam that like goes up over the side. The only good thing is if you have enough ice cream in there, then it kind of goes straight up from the glass, and it kind of is solid enough to where it doesn't go over the side like a liquid, you know?
Right, right.
Then essentially you have this finger of, I don't know, you have this finger of foam. Okay, anyway.
Yeah.
So this is my drink of the night. I'm going to have a float of the cream soda variety. I don't know. Do you have a beverage there with you?
My beverage of the night is pretty much almost gone. I hit the 7-Eleven and got a Pepsi, but I got a vanilla cherry Pepsi because they have the little flavor shots.
Ah, yes, the flavor shots.
Mm-hmm.
The flavor shots are a weakness of mine in no uncertain terms. Like, God, I love those flavor shots. I abuse them. I actually put way too much vanilla and way too much, you can't really make cherry Mountain Dew by putting regular Mountain Dew plus cherry.
No.
But you can make cherry Coke and cherry vanilla Coke with those things. That is very, very yummy. I'm belching like a storm here.
Well, and it was the QT gas station that had our favorite flavor dispensers with that like myriad of different flavors, especially with the hot chocolates and coffees.
I tell you what, I was having a problem. I don't like that I was having a problem, but essentially I was very much, I was way out of control with that stuff when we were using those. Like, I'm glad I'm just on kind of the regular Red Mountain Dew now and soda floats. Okay, my drink is ready to go. Tell me about this first news story. I'm going to screen share it here while you talk about it. In fact, let me try and pull it up here, and we can talk about the first one. Oh, this is one of mine. Wendy's struggling like McDonald's, but let's do the heist. Go ahead and talk about the heist story here.
So the heist story is a KFC Taco Bell manager actually set up a fake robbery at her own store. Now I've seen these before where it's, you know, one door and it has both menus. I think we have one here that's actually a Taco Bell Long John Silver's. So these things are kind of familiar.
Okay. Whoa, hold on. A Taco Bell combination with a Long John Silver's?
Yeah, yeah.
That sounds spectacular.
But
like,
the
I really,
thing
I love the
sucks
idea
about it is that the Long John Silver part of it, they take it off the menu after like 10 p.m., even though the Taco Bell is open till like 2 or 3 in the morning. So it kind of sucks that
okay. Well, hey, listen.
There, but they shut down that part of the menu.
Listen, Miss Complainer, for years I have been talking about how, hold on here. Page unresponsive. All right, well, I will kill that page. Maybe I can reload it. Something is going wrong kind of with one of the ads on this page, I think, more than anything else. But read the details of it. And do you have it up on your screen?
Yeah, I have it up here. So there was a Philly, a fast food manager who basically tried to rob her own store. Mary Dalton, who's 33 years old, told the cops that she was robbed at gunpoint at 11:30 at night on July 29th. She had told the police that the robbers took about $2,800 in cash, but as soon as they kind of started to question her, she wasn't getting her story quite right. She really couldn't answer how the crooks got into the store, what the person looked like. So they later found out that it was actually a nephew that had robbed the store, and he actually turned himself in for it.
And this is a picture of the nephew. And she flipped on him. It didn't take even very long, it sounds like. How interesting. The coworker played no role in the charade. This story from the New York Daily News is written kind of badly. But it talks about how she cracked like a tortilla chip. She went from manager to defendant in a couple of days, according to the police. And let's see here. The detail that I saw here was kind of interesting because I don't know why this won't work. It was robbed at gunpoint. The interesting line at the beginning is, "Too bad they don't serve Whoppers at Taco Bell," because boy, I guess this lady really told a Whopper.
Wow.
Anyway.
Yeah, so I mean, the pair was each charged with 2 counts of robbery, theft by unlawful taking, receiving stolen property, simple assault, and 1 count of terroristic threats, which is interesting. But basically, you know, that's something that I have never thought of doing, but I've always kind of mused when I did work retail and I've worked food service. When you have those deposits at the end of the night, you just kind of think, gosh, here's $15,000. What would it take, you know, to get one of my friends who's in a motorcycle gang to come in and rob the place? And, you know.
Well, it's funny. I've never really had the pleasure of working the food service. So I got into radio when I was in high school, and that ruined my entire life. For 20 years, I was in the radio. It's almost like a virus. But at the same time, I never had the experience of working in a fast food joint or any kind of food service. So I don't know what it's like. But like I say, I was watching Ocean's 11, going, man, I wonder if this ever happens. And then every so often I'll go to a Taco Bell or something like that, and I'll go, man, I wonder if this place, like, if they could ever rob their own store. I don't know. I'm sort of advertising for the show here really fast. Tell me about the story that you have here.
But yeah, I definitely, when I worked at the coffee house, I used to work at Coffee Exchange. You visited me plenty of times when I worked there.
Times. And I never got free Mountain Dew, not once.
Not once ever did you get any free Mountain Dew, ever. But yeah, we would have those deposits at the end of the night, and that was a pretty popular coffee place. And you just kind of hold all of that cash and thinking, okay, I would never do this, but what would happen if someone, you know, robbed? I mean, how can they find this person, you know?
Yeah,
so.
I mean, that's the thing is, I mean, police are, I think, most of the time pretty good at their jobs when it comes to that detective work. Like, I feel like most of those things get caught, but I don't know. What the fuck do I know? Maybe it's not true. I feel like I should also put my Skype on here. You can come on here via Skype as well. Let's see. You just have to call me on Skype, and I have to write the Google software. Cerebell is not operating very nicely today.
Who?
It's kind of giving me ulcers, or maybe that is the cream soda float that I have already finished that is giving me the ulcers. I don't know. It was very good. It was, in fact, fantastic.
Delicious.
As good as it gets. It's just delicious and nutritious as well. Okay, so there's me on Skype. If you need to be able to reach us live, you can certainly by giving us a Skype call. You can text me here at the phone number on your screen. It's 310-776-5869. That, of course, spells 310-776-Coons. Cerebell, let's look at the next of the stories here that you sent, because there's some good ones. Let me switch cameras here over to you and tell me about this next story here.
Let's see. I'm waiting. Okay, yes. So Chipotle is now dethroning Subway as the healthy fast food king, but is it warranted?
Yeah, this is the story. So tell me your thoughts. Chipotle versus Subway in a sentence.
Basically, Chipotle does have a lot more choices, and they're healthier choices. However, what the article is saying is that you can have a burrito that comes up to about 1,300 or more calories if you're making the wrong choices. So
you got to watch out for the calories, of course. But as this article says on FoxNews.com, and just let me say, I know that FoxNews.com is the super conservative bullshit place that, you know, I know what everybody says about Fox News, and for a large part, I agree with that. Like, I mean, Fox News political coverage is never going to be even or fair, you know, that kind of thing. But when it comes to stories like this, very often they are an okay source. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is actually probably a decent and, you know, good story, actually. And there are probably other places that are doing it. But tell me what I mean, would you rather go to Chipotle or would you rather go to Subway?
I would definitely rather go to Chipotle. I definitely feel that their take on the fresh, sustainable food, they quit carrying certain pork products because the pork wasn't sustainable. And they are doing their whole campaign for no fake added kind of stuff. You know, if you're into that, that's great. When you go to Subway, everything just has this over processed kind of feel to it, honestly. Their breads, last year, they kind of got in trouble because they were using some chemicals in their breads that were not that good, and their deli meats really are subpar now.
Interesting. I have not been to Subway, I guess, since I lived in Mexico. And I went there more than a couple of times in Mexico because it turned out that there was a brand new Subway that opened like during the year that I lived there. Like, it could not have been more new. It was like I had been in Mexico longer than this particular place at Subway. And, you know, no one has been in Mexico less time than Seabass. Well, all of a sudden the 6 months go by, and then I'm there in like this brand new, like it was sparkling Subway. And it was in a location where I felt like nobody could really see it from the street, like as a driver. I was a pedestrian walking to and from my house to the school. So it was actually like a really good, you know, it was in a good neighborhood and everything like that. But it just had this really kind of crappy location. But it seemed like people liked it, you know, like it was I will say this, the word processed I saw in that article, and I thought, yeah, that is true. I mean, even the best sandwiches you get are kind of the pre-sliced deli meats.
Right. Well, no, that's the thing about Subway is that all of their fresh, all their food comes to them on a truck. So they are going to unload the pre-packaged meat. Everything is, you know, very much like set up the way that you would get it in the grocery store where it's pre-packaged. There is a chain called Jimmy John's, which we went there in Arizona by the university.
I remember. Yes, I remember.
And I'm not sure if you saw when we were there, not only do they bake their fresh daily, bread fresh daily, the same way the Subway does, but their meats are in the big deli hunks, and they slice it when you order.
Yeah, it's like a deli slicer. If you've ever seen the Slicer episode of Seinfeld with Kramer and his meat slicer, yeah, that's what they got, a big old fucking meat slicer. And we've talked about this, processed versus, you know, like sort of made in front of you in the French fry department, haven't we?
Yes, yes. Mm-hmm.
I love going to a place like In-N-Out Burger, right, which is my favorite burger place, and I think it's a lot of people's favorite. Although, you know, kind of California boy mindset, I guess, maybe has me a little bit biased. But anyway, you go to In-N-Out Burger and you see them slicing potatoes that go straight into the frying oil.
Right.
And it is right there done in front of you. Now, compare that with McDonald's, which you know has those French fries trucked in.
Oh, yeah.
Many people think of the McDonald's French fry as kind of the ultimate fry, you know? Like, I mean, there are no fries, I think, better than McDonald's, and yet those kind of come pre-sliced too. So maybe there's not as much to... Maybe that's just one case where it doesn't work. I don't know, but I feel like, you know, process doesn't always mean bad.
Right, no, and I definitely agree. Process does not always mean bad. And the difference between the turkey that you're going to get at Jimmy John's versus the turkey that you're going to get at Subway is probably the same quality turkey, but there is that difference when you have it fresh sliced off of the breast versus something that has been sitting in a package for how long. It's got so much air that's already been against it. So.
Exactly. And I've said this, that's what I think I've always said with the French fry discussion, which is, even though everybody thinks of McDonald's fries as the best, and even though process doesn't necessarily mean bad, like still, I feel like it does my heart good to know that those were potatoes a second ago, and now they're French fries. They're my fries. Like, I know where they came from the, you know. Does the Five Guys place also do this?
You know, I'm not sure with the Five Guys if they do the slicing in the store, but my boyfriend is shaking his head vehemently yes that they do it in the restaurant.
They do it. Okay, good. I'm glad he was there. Thank you,
Michael.
And I was going to say that I had that sensation, right? Like, I kind of felt like those fries, even though they're greasier, and kind of floopier and floppier. Like I feel like they were potatoes a minute ago.
Yeah. And I think maybe they have it in the store when you go through the queue. They have their big things of peanut oil that kind of let you know that all their stuff is done in peanut oil. And if you have an allergy to peanuts, don't eat here, kind of thing.
Don't eat here if you have an allergy. I like a restaurant that just kind of, you know, doesn't try to eliminate peanut oil. Just says, hey, you peanut oil allergy people, go eat at I guess In-N-Out or something like that.
Right, exactly. But we don't have In-N-Out in Oregon, so oop.
Say that again?
We don't have In-N-Out in Oregon.
Oh my God, I always forget that.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Because when you were in town, it is hard for us to decide between Sonic, which you and I like a lot and have eaten a lot of, or In-N-Out Burger. I feel like In-N-Out Burger is the favorite, but we've eaten at Sonic more.
Well, we did the Sonic for the breakfast sandwich. And In-N-Out, I'm not sure, did we actually get it up when we were talking to the guy at the drive-thru at In-N-Out about they don't even have a freezer in the store?
Oh, no, I remember. Here's the thing. I remember filming that, but my mind is foggy as to which episodes went on the air and which ones got lost. When my computer died, you know, my computer stopped working. I don't know exactly where that was, because I remember that happening. We actually were driving through In-N-Out, and you're like, they don't even have a freezer at In-N-Out to put French fries in. So I love knowing that, you know. But yes, if you want to talk about Sonic versus In-N-Out, Sonic has In-N-Out in a couple of areas. One, bacon. I've always said that
about bacon. Yeah.
Well, if you have bacon, that's one thing that In-N-Out doesn't seem to be able to do. Dessert also. In-N-Out has those shakes, or those milkshakes, I guess.
They're really good shakes. Yeah.
They're good, but they're nothing compared to the why can't I say the Sonic dessert menu? Right.
You know, Sonic has a very varied menu, very varied, and their what is it? Their combination of shakes that you can get. They had a commercial on recently saying that there was, you know, however 37 or something many different combinations of shakes that you can get with the different mix-ins, and yeah.
And that's tremendous. On the other hand, we had an article last week that's like they really treat their employees like shit at that place because they pay them as though they were getting tipped. But you and I have discussed, we don't know anybody who's ever tipped an employee who's a car hop at a Sonic, including ourselves. But we didn't know that at the time, you know?
Right. I was actually looking on Reddit for some fast food stories, and someone had posted, you know, F all you mother Fs who don't tip at Sonic. And she had you know, I'm one of the car hops. I have to be on the roller skates, and I get paid, you know, $2 whatever an hour because they expect us to earn tips.
Yeah.
And everyone who replied, I mean, this post had like over 180 replies, were like, I never knew that I had to tip at Sonic.
Exactly. No, it's definitely a revelation. Like, this is news to us, I think, for the most part. And we're good people. Like, you know, we're the kind of person who would go to Chipotle more because of their sustainable pork, or, you know, or because they eliminated it if it wasn't sustainable, I think was the actual story.
Yeah, that's what they did.
But at the same time, you know, I wish they could have just thrown the little tip line in there on the little digital programming thing. You know what I'm saying? When you pay, because now you can pay with your card right at the thing.
Right.
You don't even have to hand your card to the car hop. And I feel like, dude, I love that it is that advanced, you know? If it is that advanced, why can't they add the one line to the receipt that says tip and then build it into the system, you know? It's almost like...
There's actually a Mexican restaurant that we go to up here in Vancouver, which is just across the river for us. And we've gone there a couple times and paid with cards, and they actually bring the little card machine out. He puts it in, and then there's the tip. You know, do you want to put a tip in? And then, you know, so.
No, I think that's programmable. Like, I think I've never worked at a place that had one of those point of sale systems, but I have the sense from having used them as a customer all these years that, you know, it is not. You know, restaurants commonly have a place to put a tip on those lists. So there's some way that is programmable. I don't know. Maybe it costs some money. Maybe that's why they don't do it. But, you know, if they're going to pay their car hops like that, they damn sure should give them the opportunity, you know, spread the word, or put a little sign up that says, hey, gratuities are welcome.
Right.
You know, that is also not a bad idea. but at the same time, they have excellent breakfast sandwiches there, and they have excellent ice cream menu there. So, for that matter, I've always had the Subway breakfast foods as well. And even though it's not a real live cracked egg like McDonald's has on the Egg McMuffin, like I still those egg sandwiches at Subway are, you know, I put. It's kind of weird. I have this particular thing I get at Subway every single time. And every time I've traveled on Amtrak on the Coast Starlight, when you start in Los Angeles, the Los Angeles
the subway that is in the Coast Starlight that always has a million people in queue.
Yeah, they have a big, like, sort of subway that is not a sit-down place. They may have a couple of tables set up, but it's, you know, it's not really a sit-down place. But it's a Subway sandwich shop, and you can get anything you can get at Subway there. And I went, I guess it was early morning hours, because that's when I got my regular breakfast thing, which is you can get the yellow egg or the white egg, right? In other words, a pre-frozen egg white egg.
It goes in the microwave and
sort of pre-scrambled frozen yellow egg. And I got the two yellow eggs on the foot-long flatbread with just spinach, and I think I put like a little bit of sauce is all I did, just a little bit, you know. And man, you take that with you on the train. It's like because I don't think. The other thing about the train, if you don't know this, is they offer food. Like there's a dining car and a snack bar place and all kinds of stuff on this Coast Starlight train. It's spectacular. But when you leave from LA traveling north towards Seattle, you do not necessarily have access to the restaurant for the first couple of hours. They're still setting it up. So you want to have a Subway sandwich ready to go in your pocket. Man, I mean, that is...
And see, when I took the Coast Starlight, I took it down, and then I took it back from Arizona to Oregon, and I think I got into Los Angeles, maybe 2 a.m., and it wasn't going to leave until like 10, so I literally had 8 hours to kill.
Yeah,
in there.
No, that is because the Coast Starlight starts in Los Angeles. So what you take from Tucson to LA is, I think, either the Texas Eagle.
It's like the Texas El Rio or the Texas something.
Yeah, because there's a train that leaves from Louisiana, New Orleans, Louisiana, I think.
It goes all the way. Yeah, exactly.
Then there's another train that like hooks onto it, and they kind of combine the Texas Eagle and the New Orleans, you know, whatever it is, the New Orleans drunk person or whatever they call it. And they kind of combine up. And by the time they get to Tucson, I think they're essentially the same train.
Right.
But I've done it now a couple of times, and man, just let me be Sheldon Cooper for 1 second and say...
I was going to say, you were definitely being Sheldon right now.
I mean, it is really a cool trip. And, I mean, the Tucson to LA thing, that kind of happens at night, and you do mostly sleep.
Yeah, I slept through it.
2 or 3 a.m. depending on the train. But when you leave from LA, that doesn't happen until 10 o'clock. Yeah. So here's the tip for you traveling. If you travel on the Coast Starlight and arrive, you know, early, there is a VIP lounge. What you want to do is what Sarabelle and I usually do, which is get the sleeper car. It's a bit more expensive, but if you can afford it, and it's not that bad, like I think it's $300 between LA and Portland.
Yeah.
That's what you were saying anyway. Excuse me for belching my delicious soda belch. But
yes, if you have a sleeper car, you get to be in the VIP lounge in the train station in Los Angeles, and they have food, and they give you breakfast, and they give you drinks. So
yeah, it's true. And I mean, you can also come in with your Subway sandwich, as I was describing earlier. But let's face it, it is a train station in a major metropolitan American city. And sometimes there's homeless folks. Sometimes there's, you know, I don't want to say anything bad about homeless people, I guess, but this is a train station in a major city. So if you have the chance to be in the VIP thing, it is very nice. Amtrak really makes it quite nice for the people who have these special tickets.
Right.
And it always blows me away that it's not like flying first class, you know. Flying first class costs hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars. And, it's really much more reasonable and it's an awesome trip. Like when you're on this Coast Starlight train, as Sheldon Cooper says on The Big Bang Theory, these one of the classic American routes on one of the great American railways or something. Like he says, there are ocean views that are inaccessible to any other form of transportation. You cannot see ocean views like this. Anywhere else, including on a car. Like, I mean, these are amazing. This is a place where only there is tracks and ocean, you know, for many miles. And one of the times I was actually going south in November. I remember I was coming home for Thanksgiving. I traveled south on the Coast Starlight, and the guy comes to my little sleeper car and says, I have only 2 slots left for dinner tonight, sir. He's like, you can either eat at 4:30 or 8:30 or something like that. No, I think it was only 4:30. We have only 4:30 p.m. remaining. Like, you can, I guess you have to have 4:30, sir. And I'm like, all right. And I just took it, and then I wasn't going to go. But it turned out that I knew there was this spot along the tracks where you have these ocean vistas. And it turned out in November, in that direction, 4:30 is right when the sun is setting in California. So there were these sunset vistas over the ocean that were fucking magnificent, like nothing I've ever seen before. And I knew that Sheldon Cooper line before. Like, I know the ocean is pretty, but I was just going to look at it from my room. But man, in the dining car, they have these big windows that go all the way up into
They go all the way over the ceiling, yeah.
It's unbelievable. So sorry for that Sheldon Cooper like spasm there, but like it really is very cool, and I think it kind of gets undersold. I'm going to go ahead and start the second half hour with the Code Red Mountain Dew. Yeah, I come prepared for this show, as you see.
Right.
What else are we going to talk about, Sarah Bell? I sort of went on that thing, but tell me another one of the things about Chipotle that you like over Subway, because that's kind of where we were.
One of the things that I like is that you can actually see it. It's that open kitchen that happens behind you. If you are there when they run out of a certain meat, you can actually see them pull it out of the cooler and throw it on the grill. And, you know, nothing's hidden. You know, it's all out in the open.
Well, here's another thing I like. Read this part of the article here. Chipotle also has a growing number of devotees, right, who claim to eat at the Mexican grill every day and still feel great. 15 years ago, Jared Fogle did something similar when he, as we know, ate the low-calorie sandwiches that led to his loss of 245 pounds, popularizing the Subway diet. Of course, then there was the search of his home by the FBI because of child porn. And then, but analysts, I like this sentence. Analysts say that the Fogle controversy did actually almost little to change, damn it, how Subway customers already felt. Last year, Subway made headlines for having the controversial ingredient in its bread. It also was late in announcing its decision to remove artificial ingredients, which everybody from Panera Bread to Taco Bell has done. Some warn Chipotle's menu choices aren't really healthy at all. The fact they've convinced consumers that product is healthy is incredible. We're talking about 1,300 calorie burritos. So he's kind of the anti-Chipotle guy. New York Times compiled data from hundreds of online orders and found that the average customer consumes 1,070 calories in one sitting, more than a Big Mac and fries. And that's the average customer. So I don't know if you eat, I don't know, like, I mean, I wonder how many people that applies for, because there could be just as many people who consume fewer calories, and a whole bunch of, like, really heavy eaters might have offset that.
Right. I think that they always use the average, and I really think that they need to use the, the mean, median, and mode. The median is the one that, but they need to use the one that has the most of. So I really think that most people are not ordering the, give me double guac, double sour cream, extra cheese, which is probably what that 1,300 calories is. Probably.
And I mean, here's this guy, he's kind of just the super fan who's eaten at Chipotle every day for the past 155 days and usually orders the chicken bowl. I mean, and this is kind of I hate to say it, I think this is kind of delusional thinking. Delusional thinking. It's GMO-free, mostly organic and fresh. I mean, if it's fresh, that's one thing, but the GMO organic bullshit, I mean, we have talked about this. That's nonsense to me, and I feel like people who really wave that flag are kind of, they're deluding themselves. It's not really all that to say that you're,
GMO-free.
I mean, to the extent that there are modified genetic organisms in just about everything we have now, like, I don't really understand. Whatever. There's people who are very anti-GMO and who don't understand what they're talking about. And my point there is, like, every farmer who has ever tried to breed his best cow with his other best bull, like every farmer who's done that has done technically GMO, right? You're just kind of picking the best one. So when you pick the best bull and the best cow to have sex and create more cows, that is a method of GMO. Now, it's not what the big pharmaceutical companies are doing, but there's research going on, yeah. And I don't know. I'm very pro-GMO, frankly.
Yeah, I mean, that's how we have all of our modern crops. The corn that we have is because we crossed this breed with this breed and this breed, 100 years ago when they started, to farm everything.
Well, not only that, but I feel like
we've been doing the breeding forever.
Yeah, well, the other thing that's important to know is, like, for instance, there are starving countries in Africa who, because of new genetically modified crops, can feed more of their people who are starving. But then there was, I forget which country it was, because I should be better about remembering it, but there was a country where they were offered a whole bunch of, like, this, food for their starving people, and the governor guy, the prime minister or whoever of this country said, no, we don't want it. It's genetically modified. We would rather starve. And it was just because they had been sort of had their minds tainted by this kind of weird, it's like the anti-vax propaganda or all this other bullshit. We need to remove fluoride from the water because it's making our kids have Down syndrome or whatever the hell. Like, it just, I feel like there's a lot of bullshit out there, and it's, I don't really I try not to buy into it. Let's change. Let's talk for a bit about. I feel like we should do a regular segment called "Bad Fast Food Employees," because check out these bad fast food employees, Sarah Bell. Fast food
very bad employees.
Sets homeless man on fire. What were some of the other bad employee stories we've had before?
The crazy woman who was a Burger King employee who was physically threatening the woman who said that the soft serve that she received was not a shake, but just a soft serve in a cup.
Right. And then she went on, where did we found her on Facebook? Like, she went on to work at, I want to say Hollister.
Retail store or something, yeah.
Hollister or Abercrombie and Fitch or something like that. No, I want to say, this is like a really douchey thing to say, but I feel like she wasn't good looking enough to work at Abercrombie and Fitch.
No, she was not. And honestly, they only hire people who are average size. They do not hire any plus size people. And she was definitely a big girl. So I think it was Hollister, not Abercrombie.
Yeah, but anyway, so yeah, I mean, we have, and I mean, let's face it, the people who work at fast food places have a very difficult job, and nobody's saying that it's not difficult, but like at the same time, maybe we shouldn't attack people when they have a problem with their food. Maybe we should believe them. Maybe we shouldn't set homeless people on fire. Here is this article from this week where James Williams was found badly burned. I mean, this is actually not a funny story, but he was set on fire by 53-year-old Barbara Johnson, according to the arrest report. The cashier at a fast food restaurant was charged with aggravated battery. I mean, it is not clear. I don't want to just say that, maybe he was a homeless man and she was a fast food worker. So it's not like they were probably a couple who had a domestic fight. She's lighting homeless people on fire just kind of like out of the blue. And that's obvious bullshit. Okay, this is the one about the KFC Taco Bell manager who set up the fake robbery at her own store. Here's the disturbing video that you started with. Oh my gosh, let's get to this, Sarah Bell. What is the most disturbing thing in the world?
Right now, the most disturbing thing in the world is the fast food worker who was wiping the floor with the hamburger bun.
So is this just the floor treatment? What happened here?
Basically, it was the floor treatment. Go ahead and play the video.
Okay, here we do. Here we go. It's only 21 seconds. Uh-oh. Well, I guess we know she's fired, but Okay, so wow. Well, I guess I didn't mean to bring it back to me. I wanted to continue reading the article, but I mean, yeah, I guess what KTLA says in the headline, that's disturbing, isn't it?
Yeah, it definitely is. And it was posted on Facebook and basically got about 4 million views almost immediately. And at first I thought it was Wendy's because I caught a tidbit of it on the news, the local news, and all I saw was the red shirt and the black pants. It's like, oh, that's Wendy's. But apparently it's a restaurant chain called Checkers, and they're out of Baltimore.
Okay. I, like you, am appalled and disappointed by what I saw, said the VP of Human Resources. I guess the incident happened several weeks ago, but was only recently shared. Somebody thought they could get famous in YouTube land by uploading this, which, I mean, let's face it, I guess the video went viral. We don't know who it was, but oh, wow, okay, here's something interesting. It doesn't sound... Oh, wait, the employees involved in creating the video are no longer employed, but we spoke to the employee and her mother. Okay, so does that imply she's a teenager?
I do think that does imply that she's a teenager, because if it was her mother who also worked there, they probably would have said that. And looking at the video, she does look young.
Yeah.
So it's probably one of those, you know, between the ages of 16 and 18 where they can work a limited amount of hours.
Yeah, let's look at the video here, the Checkers response.
Hi, I'm Lori Malcolm, Senior Vice President of Human Resources for Checkers. I'd like to take a moment to address the video that was posted on social media yesterday showing an employee mishandling our food. I, like you, am appalled and disappointed by what I saw in that video. This morning, we spoke to the employee in the video and her mother, and the employee is very sorry and embarrassed about what happened. She confirmed that she and her co-workers were playing around in the kitchen, and the product was never served to a guest. While the employee is very apologetic, these actions are completely unacceptable and do not reflect our values or our commitment to food quality. The behaviors in the video do not represent the more than 18,000 hardworking team members who dedicate themselves to serving our guests in our restaurants every day. While the video posted yesterday, this event actually occurred a few weeks ago at a Checkers franchise location in a suburb of Baltimore. The franchisee launched an investigation, and the employees involved are no longer employed by that franchisee. We have very strict standards, procedures, and training in place regarding the preparation and handling of our food, and we take pride in serving our guests. As the franchisor, we at Checkers corporate office are conducting a full investigation and exploring all of our options.
What does that mean?
We value our guests and our employees.
Okay, what is that? What is... Yeah. What is the part about, like, all of our options or whatever? Like, are they going to sue her? What is that even supposed to mean?
You know, I'm not sure. There's probably something when you are a franchisee saying that a franchisor has the opportunity to take away your rights to be a franchise if you behave certain aspects.
So maybe they will have to stop having their restaurant. Like, they may get shut down potentially.
Right. I mean, because we talked before about how some social media events have an effect on fast food restaurants, like the Wendy's and the person who lost a finger, how it did affect the numbers, even though they didn't lose it at Wendy's, you know, that it was...
No, even though it was a hoax, right? That was a complete hoax. That finger had been lost by somebody at another job location that was not a fast food restaurant at all, and they sold the finger piece to this lady who then slips it into her thing and goes, there's that. She actually says she put it in her mouth, right? That's the thing. She said that's what grosses everybody out. It's a finger, and it's clearly this much of a human finger. That's obviously disgusting. And Wendy's chili went down, even though, like, even though
it wasn't true, the sales still went down. So I'm betting that Checkers, somewhere in their contract to the franchisee, says that if you do not behave well, or if something that you do negatively impacts, we have the right to say you are no longer a Checkers.
Yeah. So they didn't say they fired her, but they said
she no longer works at that.
Works there. I mean, I don't really get why they phrase it that way. Maybe it's like a legal thing. They can't say we fired her. because it might affect her ability to get a job in the future or something. But they can say, she's no longer working here. She quit, maybe, or maybe she's dead now, or I don't know. But like, my other question, Sarabelle, is this: do you think her name will come out? Like, we live in the social media world. We found out the name of that lady who went and attacked the girl who was complaining about the girl who was making a bad milkshake, and then
people were able to find her on social media. I'm betting that somewhere in Baltimore, someone knows that girl. And eventually it'll trickle down. It's like, oh, that's Melissa from high school. We had PE together. And then eventually, people will figure out who it is. Her face is in the video, especially when she goes to the camera and is like, stop filming. So it's going to be able, I'm sure that they'll be able to find it. I think that if she's a minor, people may not release her name or may have more hesitation about it.
Sure. And I'm not necessarily saying it should be released. I'm sitting here wondering, will it come out on the internet? Does it matter if it does? I mean, does something this disgusting, because she's so young, she's learning, never was served to a customer, which, by the way, I'm not sure if I necessarily
believe that or not.
She said that because she knew she was fucking caught. So, like, here's my question. Do you think maybe it was really served to a customer?
I almost think that it probably was served to a customer. Just kind of the way that the video was. I almost think that maybe that there was someone in the lobby or someone in the drive-thru who was pissing them off, and she just had that, oops, I dropped it on the floor, let's mess it up,
And I suppose another question for that matter, Sarabelle, is you have worked in the service industry before. Let us be clear. There are people maybe who are assholes.
Oh yeah, there are people who are assholes on both ends. There are the asshole customers, and there are the asshole employees.
Absolutely, and I guess what I meant to say was there are customers who are assholes, right? Like let us not skip over the fact that maybe, just maybe, there is a person out there in the world who deserved this. So I mean, I don't think anybody will ever really say that, but I feel like, what if, think of the worst person the person you hate the most in life, or, the person who, who cheated somebody out of money, or, they're really shitty people out there. Like, I would not mind seeing them get a floor-wiped burger.
Well, I mean, it's one of those ones. If you ever saw the movie Waiting with...
I did see Waiting with Dane Cook, the comedian. Dane Cook in Waiting.
Dane Cook and Justin Long, and having been around people who are like that, having friends who work the food service industry and work the food service industry myself, there are certain things that employees will do if someone pisses them off. I know that I have occasionally scorched espresso for someone who is just a dick.
Yeah.
And it's one of those ones that you didn't ruin it, but yeah, maybe I let it in there just a little bit too long.
Give them the best you possibly could, because they do not deserve your best, for any number of a million reasons. So, and I again, nobody's saying that people people who are at all nice or likable or whatever deserve to have this done to them. But maybe there's the 0.0001%. Maybe there's 50 people in the whole world. Maybe, it's an incredibly small number, but I feel like, I don't know. It's not going to hurt anybody. It's not going to kill them, but it's still obviously disgusting.
Right. But yeah, that was definitely another bad employee sort of thing. And, I do hope that her name kind of doesn't get out, because if this is her career, if she's going to be one of those fast food, employees that... it might be bad for her future, employees.
Sorry, I was trying to play the video again here. Like, she comes back in a second, we see her face. Like, do you know who this woman is? Whatever.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of butts on your watch next on there, I just want to say.
There's a lot of what?
There's a lot of behinds on your... There was.
I missed that. I'm sorry, I would have clicked on them if I had seen butts.
They're girl butts.
See, I wouldn't have clicked on that. Okay, well, let's see here. Let's do two more stories. First of all, here's another story. This is from Chron.com, which is, I think, the Texas Chronicle. or whatever. What is it? The Dallas Chronicle? No, wait. What is it? San Antonio? What is it called? There's a chronicle that is not the San Francisco Chronicle, and I don't know why I'm farting on the city. But I'm pretty sure it's in Texas, and this is the story anyway. Chick-fil-A crushes the fast food competition. So maybe this is just in Texas, or maybe it's like Atlanta, because this talks about Atlanta here. Anyway, Chick-fil-A, the #8 quick service brand in the country, which is impressive because the 9th rank, the one that's behind them, has 4 times as many stores. That's Pizza Hut. So Pizza Hut has 4 times as many stores, but Chick-fil-A is higher than them. And I guess what? Overall sales? Competition sales per restaurant. Okay.
Yeah.
KFC is 11th, despite having more than twice the number of stores as Chick-fil-A. The top 3 moneymakers make significantly less money per store than Chick-fil-A. So I think that is interesting. Also, I think that it's interesting that Wendy's is struggling just like the other fast food chains. I guess it's not surprising, right?
Yeah, the other day I went through a Wendy's drive-through in their dollar menu, and it was like only one thing on the dollar menu was $1. Everything was like $1.09 or $1.19. I was like,
that always drives me nuts. And here's a statement from the Wendy's CEO, right? This new shift in franchisee ownership is a result. The Wendy's has said by 2017 they will own only 5% of the restaurants. So 95% of their money will come from franchisee royalties and rental fees instead of direct consumer profits. The amount of money they get from profits from Wendy's is much less than the franchisee royalties and rental fees. Okay. I did not know that, but I don't like what he says here. He says the $15 minimum wage increases have created a war on talents. What does that mean?
You know, I'm not sure. I mean, it sounds like fast food franchisees are forced to raise wages, which cuts hours and jobs, which I can understand. There was an article out of Seattle that Seattle has now passed the $15 minimum wage across the board.
Yeah.
And a number of employees, especially fast food employees, are asking for less hours in order to keep their state benefits.
Yeah, so I don't know if that's part of it. Like, I mean, that's interesting, an interesting angle as well. They're asking for less hours?
They're asking for less hours. They basically want to make the same amount of money as they currently are making because they were receiving state benefits.
I see. And so if they have only 30 hours a week or something like that, they get to keep their benefits?
It happened with my coworker who was getting food stamps and childcare from the state because she had previously only made, $1,200 a month. Now that she got a job where she was making $2,200 a month, she lost her food stamps and everything. So she basically quit so she could get her state benefits back. And so they're saying in Seattle, with that minimum wage, people are asking for less hours to work so they can still receive benefits.
Okay, interesting. Because it's, I guess, they get the same amount of money for less sort of effort or work. And I guess,
exactly.
I mean, I'm not one of the angry conservative people who is like, rah, welfare people, rah, obviously. But at the same time, like, I guess I see both sides of it. Like, I'm sure there's some abuse, but at the same time, people, because I like to work my ass off, I really do. I commit when I have a job, like I work really fucking my ass off. And people who are getting paid the same as me or earning the same amount for less effort kind of is like, right. That's fucked up, like that's unfair. But at the same time, I know it's not easy, especially if you have a kid. That's another thing that I don't have to worry about. And I think it's probably a good thing. I don't know if, my fast food, junk food habits, let's say, would be good for a child to, And I don't believe in parents that say, do as I say, not as I do. That's a bunch of bullshit. And I would have to say that if I was a parent. So I would rather just stay childless, at least for now.
Yeah.
Maybe there will be a little Sebastian someday with genetics like mine that can power through an entire Papa Murphy's pizza and not gain an ounce. But that is not today, and that is not 9 months from today, as far as I know. Hey, let's talk about wedding food for a second. since we're going to a wedding, not, you know, it's not like we're getting married, because that would be hilarious.
Yeah.
But we are going to a wedding of a common friend of ours, and God, we're going to have to, like, dress up.
Oh, man. I think she said it was casual. I don't think we have to dress up.
I guess we can get away with saying it's a lesbian wedding, too, right? We haven't said any names, so it doesn't really matter. But a lesbian wedding is also something that I don't think...
Well, it's now illegal, so...
What's that?
It's legal now, so...
Right, exactly. It's legal now. At the same time, you know, even Seinfeld had a scene where there was, like, 30 years ago, a woman, Elaine, going to a lesbian wedding. So there have always kind of been lesbian weddings, but this is my first one.
I think this is my first one also.
And I don't know, what do we wear to a lesbian wedding? Can you get away with jeans? Like, I mean, I guess I could get away with skinny jeans.
You could probably get away with skinny girl jeans, even.
Well, here's the thing. I actually know what I probably have to wear, because I jokingly said it to our friend, and she said, now you have to wear that. And that was that I was going to bedazzle my old leather pants from the Rocky Horror Picture Show
I
day.
was going to say, are you going to wear leather pants?
I got to say, you know, I have to do what I have to do. And I'm not going to give you an answer, yes or no, today. But what can I say? It's, you know, it's a good place to propose a lesbian wedding, right? I got to say, I'm probably not going to be the only single homo there, or will I?
You probably won't be.
I can't imagine. Oh, you know, we're going to a lesbian wedding. There's got to be at least one other boy homo there that might like the looks of an old has-been journalist and English teacher. No.
Oh my God. But you were talking about wedding food.
Yes. What do you think of wedding food? I mean, I guess we're talking cake, but like, is there going to be food there? I always want to know. I guess we could ask our friend and find out. But at the same time, well, here's the other reason why it's interesting is because you and I are going to the same wedding together in a way. And so we're going to have a 2-hour road trip ahead of us, which I'm looking forward to. And maybe we'll get, what can we get? Oh, I know what we have to get at some point before we say goodbye to each other. That is the thing that only Portland can provide, which a relative of mine actually went to Portland a couple of weeks ago and was like, yeah, Voodoo Donuts, holy shit. So there is no doubt we have to go to Voodoo Donuts as well.
Yes, I will take you to Voodoo Donuts, and there's a Krispy Kreme here in town, which, you know, that's kind of run-of-the-mill, but I don't think you've had Krispy Kreme for a while, have you?
Not
since your trip to the Renaissance Fair?
The last Krispy Kreme, I was going to say, was the Krispy Kremes you and I bought together in an episode for this show that I also think never got on the air. I'm trying to upgrade my computer, as I say, and if I mean, here's the thing. I never delete anything, so I'm sure they're still on there. I just have to sort of get the computer that edits video working again. And if you're new to what we're talking about, you're like saying, what the fuck is the old show that you guys keep referring to? Well, let's just go, shall we, Val? Why do I keep calling you Valerie? Sarabelle.
I have no idea. Don't ask me.
And if I type in here, Seabass and Sarabelle, fast food, just like that. Here we go. Okay. So here was our episode 2. Do you remember?
I missed the music.
Oh, so do I, actually.
Welcome back to our fast food podcast. We're continuing our second episode now, and we're kind of focusing on test markets and fast food hoaxes. And now, this is one of my favorite articles I found for this show, actually. It's from BusinessInsider.com. I wanted to clue everybody into it because it's a really good story. But the 18 menu items on fast food menus that were sensational failures. Number 18, we'll just go through this list.
I don't know if we need to watch this, but like it's really interesting to see.
Frescata sandwich.
Don't remember that.
I don't remember that at all. But it was.
And we go through all of them, and we have our fun, and we eat shit. Like that's the. I mean, we don't. Okay, let me just correct myself. We don't eat shit, but we eat stuff on the show, and it's just divine. Like, do check out some of our old episodes if you are interested at all, because it's really quite something. And Oh my gosh, there's a cat that wants in. Go ahead and talk for one more second. I'm gonna.
But yeah, so another thing that we can do is when you come into the Pacific Northwest, there is a chain up here called Burgerville that is kind of a more upscale kind of chain, and it has Tillamook cheese. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Tillamook, but it's a local cheese company that has more high-end kind of stuff. And their burgers are supposed to be better. I'm not sure if they're the organic kind of burgers or not, but they're really good. And it's hard to go there and not spend $10 on one person between.
I believe it. I totally.
Burger, fry, and drink.
Here, by the way, is Rusty. Since I know the internet loves cats.
Here's Fezzik.
Say hi, Fezzik. That's Rusty James here.
Look at the kitty. Look at
He doesn't like to stay in, but he's also, I don't know if you can notice, he's got the kind of crazy eyes, like he really wants to go. So, yeah, he's gone now.
Well, Fezzik was sleeping on the back of the couch, and I grabbed him.
What happened? Is it time for that stupid internet show again?
Yeah, and he's licking my chin, and it really kind of feels funny because he won't stop. Okay, are you done? Are you done? You're done. Yes, you are.
Fezzik's
so yeah, he's a little Fezzik ball.
Oh, hi, Rusty. Yeah, Rusty's back. He's gonna hang out for like the last, I guess, 20 minutes of the show or whatever.
Oh, we have another 20?
Well, yeah. I mean, we can wrap up any time actually, but I felt like there was a couple of more stories that I wanted to try and do. Maybe not. I wrote a couple of things in the teaser for the show. Floor treatment, bad fast food workers. Okay, so we did them all. Never mind. We did all of them. So we can say goodnight anytime. I don't know, but it's interesting that I don't know. I think it's just I think it's like I miss you and I cannot wait. I can't believe for one thing that we're going to see each other in now 2 months.
I know.
That's 8 weeks.
Wow, that's 8 paydays. I've got 8 paydays to.
Gosh, for me, that's only like 4, so I need to make sure. I mean, I have some money already, thank goodness, but I'm going to really have to try and save up to make sure I have enough money to do everything.
Yeah, well, luckily we can get up there and back on a tank of gas, so it should be okay.
Seriously, we can get up there and back on a tank of gas? Okay, and I mean, is there a hotel involved, or are we just going to kind of go up and come back the same day? Or
I figured we might go up and come back the same day, just because, okay. I mean, it's a short drive, and if anything, there's possibly we could ask to crash on a couch of someone we know who is in the Seattle area.
That's true, too. I'm not against that. That might be a possibility, but we can see what happens.
But they do have a hotel reserved, hotel rates reserved.
That's true, and I mean, I would not be against one night, like especially if it wasn't too expensive. I don't know.
I don't know either.
Well, anyway, I guess we will bring the show to a close here since we've done an easy hour, and it was like over with the snap of a finger. But
I know
I did not get the fast food that I promised that I would have this week, so I'm going to do that next week. Taco Bell, assuming they still have it, I'm going to have these Captain Crunch donut holes that you said were disappointing, and we're going to find out, because I was horrified to find out that they were disappointing.
I was disappointed, and the last time I went by at Taco Bell, it looks like they still were up in the windows for the Captain Crunch.
I'm glad to hear that. Well, then, join us next Saturday at 10 o'clock West Coast time, Sunday morning, 0500 GMT. For the next of the fast food and junk food extravaganzas. I'm Sebastian.
I'm Sarah Bell.
We will see you next week. Good night, everyone.
Yay.
Oops, hold on. I will hit stop broadcast. Good night.
Yay, stop broadcast.